Welcome to the next episode of Mykaela's Corner. Guys, it is episode number 39. Next week will be episode number 40. And in 10 more weeks, episode number 50? That's half of 100, and that's a lot. Well, today we're going to do something a little different. Instead of me giving you a new lesson, giving you a new craft, we're going to actually do something that they do on TV. We're going to play a rerun, meaning I'm going to play another episode that we've already done. You might be thinking to yourself, what episode is it going to be? Guys, we're reaching way back in the time machine and we're pulling out episode number 8, which was at the very beginning of June in this last year. So before summer even started, and it talked about love, about Jesus' love. Now last week we talked about God's love and how it comes out of us, and out of that we can have patience, we can be kind. All those wonderful words we talked about last week are all prevalent every day of our lives. But this week, we're specifically talking about loving each other the way Jesus loves. And we're talking about how we're all different. We don't look the same, we don't eat the same, we don't talk the same. Everyone is different. And we might have people that have similarities, meaning there's certain things that are the same, but as a whole, there is no one like you. And there's no one like me. We are all different. Even twins have some differences. I know, crazy. They're identical, but they're still different. Nobody is exactly the same. And that's what God intended. He wanted it to be a world where we have so many different kinds of people and different kinds of cultures and things that we can all learn from and grow together as a wonderful world that we live in. However, that doesn't always feel like how it is. Sometimes the world can feel heavy. Sometimes you might hear your parents talk about things happening in the news that might seem scary or just frustrating. We're still in COVID, we're still dealing with that, and it's a new year, and we're still staying home, and we're still staying safe. And this last week, it felt like the world got a little crazy again. With the new president coming up, there's just a lot of confusion and turmoil, and some people are really excited about it and happy about it, and some people are really mad about it. But the thing is that we need to remember that God is in control. No matter what happens, good or bad, that God is still in control and He still loves you. Whew, got myself choked up there. Whew, didn't expect to get choked up on Mykaela's Corner. But that's how important it is to me for you to hear that message, that God loves you. And it is our job as Christians, as people who believe in God, that we share that love with this world. No matter our differences, no matter if we look different, no matter if we talk different, no matter if we think differently, or we like different people, different things. It doesn't matter. What matters is that we respect one another and we love one another, and that's what God wants us to do. So I thought, I had some great books that I read. We also had a great lesson on how Jesus healed 10 lepers. He showed love to them when no one else would. And for our craft, we're gonna do one that I really enjoyed. It's our thankful love tree. And if you don't remember what that was, then great, hang in and you'll see what it is. And if you're like, oh, I already did that, then you can either watch it or make a new one. So without further ado, here is the newly edited episode number 8, Love Like Jesus. Enjoy, and remember to love everyone around you just as Jesus would. I'm so glad you guys are here today. Today, things are going to be a little different. I'm going to start by reading a couple big books that I have. They're really tall. And we're going to have our normal book reading, and we're going to have a craft, and we're going to have our Bible story. Today, our Bible story is about Jesus healing 10 lepers. Now, I'll talk about when we get to our lesson time what a leper is, but basically, it's just somebody who's really sick back in the day, and they had to live far away from anybody else, and sometimes people would throw rocks at them to keep them away because they couldn't get near them. They were the people that nobody wanted anything to do with, and Jesus showed love, and He went and He healed them. I'm already giving the whole story away, but there you go. You get a little sneak peek of what we're going to talk about today. But I wanted to keep this story, which is in alignment with our curriculum, in that right now our world is just really hurting. We have a lot of things going on and it just seems really hard and heavy. We have to stay home because of COVID, and now we've been home for several months now, and that can be really frustrating and hard. But there's also just been a lot of frustrating things happening in the world, and there's people who don't like other people and because they're different, and that's not okay. Jesus wants us to love everyone. And just as much as I say that you are special and that God loves you, just think about that God loves everyone, and that includes you, and it includes me. And He loves your next door neighbor, my next door neighbor, the person walking down the street. He loves every single person. And that's why He sent Jesus to die for all of us. Not just you and me, but everyone in the whole world. God made the whole world and he gave it to us. And he made us all different so that we could learn from each other and love each other and take care of each other and share our differences with one another, which is such a beautiful thing. So I liked that Jesus went to heal the 10 lepers because they were kind of outcasts. And it's our job to include everyone because we believe in Jesus and we believe in God and God loved us so much, we are supposed to share that love with other people. So things have been hard, but it's our time to learn, listen, and to be encouraged by what God has to say to us, which is that you are loved, and you are accepted, and so is everyone else. So I have these 2 big books here. This one is a fun one. It's called The Land of Many Colors. And it's written by Klamath County YMCA Family Preschool. And it's illustrated by Rita Pocock. But I like this story because it kind of talks about this world where there's people who are different than each other. And they didn't like each other, but in the end, they learned to work it out. So, the land of many colors. These are the purple people. They like purple food and they have purple pets. And they think purple is best. These are the blue people. They like blue food and they have blue pets. And they think blue is the best. These are the green people. My favorite. Can you guess what kind of food they like? Or what kind of pets they have? Looks like all green. One day the purple people said, "We need more toys." And the blue people said, "We need more blue food." And the green people said, "We don't need anything because we're the best." Before they knew how it happened, they were all fighting and hurting each other. It was war. Because of that, the houses were ruined, and the animals were hurt. The plants were smashed, and all of their toys were broken. The food was running out, and everyone was sad. Then one little child, all covered with dust, walked up and said, "Why are you hurting each other? Stop! We are different, but we are all the same." And everyone looked at the little child. Was he purple? Was he blue? Was he green? No one could tell. He was just dusty. "This war is mean," he said. "It is scary and we should all be friends. We all have feelings that make us happy or sad, and we all love animals and flowers and rainbows. We should learn to live together." The different people looked at each other and they smiled. "He's right," they shouted, and the war was over. Soon they began to help each other build houses, and everyone helped to take care of the animals. See that? It's got little band-aids of different colors on him. And they traded seeds among one another for planting, and the people were happier. And look at this. They're using the different colors. And he has a blue heart and a green heart and a purple heart. They're working together. However, there was still the problem of food. They would only be enough food if they mixed it all up and everyone ate all of the different colors. And so they did. Those look like sprinkles to me. They ate it. They loved it. "This is better than anything," they shouted. And they were all happy to be friends. And the land of many colors became a peaceful and loving world. I like that story. It shows that we can have differences, and sometimes when we fight and we disagree with each other, we can still come together in the end and fix it and make it better, which is what we're working to do now with our world. If we work together and we love each other and we listen to each other, it'll be a better place. This one is called "We Are All Alike, We Are All Different," and it's written and illustrated by the Cheltenham Elementary School Kindergarten. So in this book, you'll have drawings done by little kids, but there's also real pictures in here too. It just talks about the differences between people, and I think it's important that we learn that. We are all alike, and we are all different. We are all alike. We are all people. We are all different. We do not look the same. We have different colored eyes. We have different colored hair. Some of us have curly hair. I have curly hair. Some of us have straight hair. And some of us wear glasses. Sometimes I wear glasses. We have different colored skin. Some of us have darker skin and some of us have lighter skin. What color are your hair? How about your skin or your eyes? We are all alike. We all have bodies. We are all different. Some of us are girls. Some of us are boys. Some of us are big, and some of us are little. What does your body look like? I'm pretty tall. Fun thing about me, if you didn't know already, is I'm a lot taller than my mom. I wonder if any of you are getting close to being taller than your moms. We are all alike. We all have families. We are all different. Some of us live with moms. Some of us live with dads. Some of us live with moms and dads. Some of us live with grandmas and granddads, and some of us live with brothers and sisters. Some of us look like our moms and dads, and some of us look different from our moms and dads. What is your family like? We are all alike. We all live somewhere. We are all different. Some of us live in the city. Some of us live in the country. Some of us live in apartments. Some of us live in houses. Some of us live in trailers. Where do you live? I grew up in an apartment, but now I live in a house, but my house is split into 2 levels and I only live on the top floor. Kind of a different place, but I like it. We are all alike. We all eat, but we are all different. We like different foods. What do you like to eat? What don't you like to eat? For me, I love so many things. Right now I'm on a big salsa kick. I could eat chips and salsa every day. But one thing I don't like is I don't like broccoli. Actually, that's not true. I kind of like it now that I'm older, but I did not like broccoli when I was little. One thing I still don't like, peas. I don't know why. Not for me. But you might love peas. What are things that you like and things you don't like? We are all alike. We all like to play, but we are all different. Some of us like to pretend. Some of us like to climb. Some of us like to read. And some of us like to play ball. What do you like to do? We are all alike. We are all different. We are a family. And I like that one too, because it shows that we are all alike, but God made us all different. He gave us all our own brain so we can pick and choose the things that we like, that we don't like. And that's the beauty of it, is that we're not the same. So that means when we're talking to somebody, it would be boring if we were all the same, but God made us different and special. Every single person is different and special. It's really cool. Well, with that, we're going to move into our Bible time. Welcome to Bible time. Today we are going to be talking about our next lesson in our series on the Gospel Project. It is called Jesus Healed 10 Men. I mentioned this a little earlier, that he goes and he reaches out to people who were outcasts and unaccepted by society because they had this sickness. And let's dive into the story before I share it all over again. Now, Jesus was walking to, he was on his way to Jerusalem when he was about to enter a village. Okay, so we've got Jesus coming in here. Let's give Jesus. And he was coming into town. He was coming to Jerusalem. And we'll know he's Jesus because let's give him a little bow tie. This is Jesus. This is our modern day version of his red sash. Boop, boop. Okay, so we have Jesus here. And he was entering a village. So let's say like our village is over here. We've got buildings and we've got tall buildings. Now back in the day they didn't have buildings like this, but we do now. Oh, maybe he's going to Seattle. Let's give him a little space needle. Okay, so he's going this way. Jesus was entering Jerusalem, but on his way, in the distance, there were 10 people who were saying, Jesus! Jesus! So let's draw our 10 people over here. Let's say they're off in the distance here. We've got 1. And 10. And they were not happy because they were sick. And they were calling Jesus because they had this disease, and they were staying away too. They didn't come near Jesus because they knew that they weren't supposed to. And they all had something called leprosy. Now, not to get too detailed, but leprosy basically is a skin disease that back in the day they didn't have a cure for. And so they would have to be sent away because it was very, very, very contagious. Way more contagious than COVID or anything that we have right now. They had to stay very far away because if anybody got it, they would get leprosy, and then it would go so on, so on. Kind of like how COVID is with spreading. One person has it, and if they talk to another person, then they get it. That's how it spread. But for them, it was by touching. because it was on their skin. And basically it just made their skin really bad, and eventually sometimes like they would lose parts of their body, but eventually it would kill them and they would die because of this disease. So it's a horrible disease, but these 10 people weren't allowed to live in the village because they had this disease. Now back in the day, that was probably best to have them separate so that they wouldn't get other people sick, but still people did not treat them well. They treated them really poorly, like they were like bad people, but they weren't. They were just sick with this disease, so they lived on the outside. So as Jesus was making his way to the village, these people saw Jesus and were like, Jesus, Jesus! And they said, have mercy on us. And so they were asking Jesus to heal them, basically. And Jesus saw them and he said, go show yourselves to the priest. Now, back in the day, when someone was sick and they got healed, they had to show a priest first before being let back into society. That's just how it worked. So Jesus said, go show yourselves to the priest. And as they were going, Jesus ended up stopping here. We'll put an X there to show that he stopped. Maybe he was taking a rest. It doesn't really say. It just says that he didn't continue going on, at least not yet. But these guys, all of a sudden, they were, as a group, heading to the village. Like that. And as they went, all of a sudden, they were healed. Miraculously. All their skin was better. They were looking better. They didn't have the leprosy anymore. And so instead of frowns now, they had, make it a different color to represent that they turned happy. Their frowns were turned into smiles because they were no longer sick. And only one of them came back in the end to say thank you. Out of 10 people, just one came back. So they all went to the village, and then the 10th, one person came back. So these guys all went, but one of them realized, I'm not sick anymore. And he turned around and he came back to Jesus. Let's give him that big old smile again because he's not sick anymore. He was so thankful that he didn't even make it all the way back to the village. And can you imagine that? Being separated from your family for so long. I know the first thing I would want to do would be to run home to my family. But this, everybody did, except for this one person. He ended up coming back to Jesus to thank him. Only one came back. And Jesus said, where are the others? Weren't there 10 that I healed? But only one that came back. And because of this, what's important to know is he came back and he thanked Jesus, but he also believed in Jesus and knew that he was the Son of God, and he had faith. Because of that faith, he was saved, born again, like those words we've been practicing. Also, an interesting fact is this one man who came back to thank them, or to thank Jesus, was a Samaritan. And if you remember, that's another type of person who back in those days was an outcast. Jews did not like them. But God didn't care. Jesus didn't care. He loved them all just the same. All 10 of them were different. And this one Samaritan came back to say thank you. So that's very important to note. But because Jesus loved all of them, they were all saved. And that's the part I want to focus on today, is how Jesus loved them. No one else took the time to go out and be with them because they couldn't. But also, they didn't treat them well. They would throw stones at them to keep them away, and they treated them like horrible people. But they weren't. They were just sick. But Jesus saw that, and he had mercy on them because he loves them, just like he loves you and me, and just like he loves everybody else in this world. That's what I want us to take away today, is it's important to be thankful for everything, and it's important to give thanks to God when wonderful things happen, but it's important to live our lives like Jesus and remember that we're to love everyone just as he loved these people, and just as he loved you and he loved me. He loved everyone in this world so much that God sent Jesus to die for us. So that's what I want to focus on today, is that this idea of loving your neighbor, loving the people around you. We may be different. These guys, nobody wanted to be around. And those people are the ones that we should be loving the most because they're lacking the most love. And they need it. And we can give it to them because we have the greatest love of all, which is God's love. So today I want you to be thinking about how you can show love to others. We should be showing love and compassion and kindness to everyone that we come in contact with, especially those in your home, because they're the ones you're around the most. All right, so with that, on to our stories. Understand and Care by Sherry J. Miners. I have many different feelings. Other people have many feelings too. I want to understand how people feel. When something happens to someone, I can imagine how I would feel if it happened to me. and then I can understand how someone else might feel. I see my friend smile and laugh when she's happy, and she enjoys being with people and things she likes. I understand how she feels. I smile and laugh at some of the same things. When something nice happens to someone, I can remember times when I have been happy, and I can imagine how I would feel. Then I can understand how the person feels, and I can show I care. Someone I know may feel sad when something goes wrong. He may frown or cry. I feel sad too when things go wrong for me. I can imagine how I would feel if the same thing happened to me. I can understand how the person feels, and I can show I care. Sometimes people feel angry when things don't go the way they want, and anger may show in a person's face, voice, or body. I can remember feeling angry when things didn't go my way. I can try to understand how the person feels, and I can show I care. If I'm not sure how someone is feeling, I might ask, "How do you feel?" Then I can listen. Listening shows that I respect the person and that I want to understand. When I want to understand how someone feels, I can watch how the person acts, and I can remember when I have felt that way. I can imagine how I might feel. I can ask and listen. I can show I care. Understanding each other helps us get along. It feels good to understand and care. The end. God Gave Us the World by Lisa Tom Burgeon and illustrated by Laura J. Bryant. "What a beautiful world we live in," Mama Bear said. "Just look at all this snow." Little Cub looked around. "We always have snow, Mama." "Yes, but it's always different. Sometimes it's slushy, sometimes it's dry. Shimmering sparkles drifting from the sky. This is my favorite kind of snow. Big, fat flakes you can catch with your tongue." Little Cub giggled when she saw Mama trying to catch flakes on her tongue. "You look funny." Mama smiled and nudged her with her hip. "You do too. I think you have the pinkest polar bear tongue I've ever seen." "Ever?" "Ever." "Do all bears have pink tongues?" "I don't know, Little Cub. God made a world full of bears, and we all look a little different." "He did? Why did he do that?" "Because God is creative. Just like he made all kinds of places to live, he made all kinds of different bears and all kinds of different bear tongues." "Whoa, whoa, whoa," Little Cub said. "There are other kinds of places to live?" "Well, sure," Mama said. "While the pole is our home, lots of bears live in far different places." "Why would they want to do that, Mama?" "Because they like their home best. It's where God put them. God gave us this great big wide world and a whole bunch of different bears with different fur and different families." "Where do all those other bears live? I've never seen them." "All around the world, Little Cub, some very far away from here. Panda bears live in China, and all they eat is bamboo." "What's bamboo?" "A kind of tree." "They eat trees for breakfast?" "Breakfast, lunch, and dinner." "And there are sloth bears in India, and they hang from trees and like to eat termites." "Bugs? Ew!" "They think they're delicious, and they have the longest tongues you've ever seen," Mama said. "Here we are. Grizzly bears live in America. They like to catch fish." "Phew," Little Cub said. "Finally another bear who eats normal food." Mama smiled. "Even though other bears eat what you might not like, we're all bears. God made us all, and God made the world and everything in it. Why not make us all the same?" "We're not all the same on the inside, are we? Some of us are quiet, others loud. Some of us like to move fast, and others like to take their time. I think it's fun that God made us all bears, but all special too." "Don't those other bears miss snow?" Little Cub asked. "Do you miss the sand of the desert or the big green leaves of the rainforest? We love what we know because it's home to us. Every bear has a special place in God's great big world." "Why not put us all here? Why not make us all polar bears? There wouldn't be enough room here for all of us, and the world reflects God's work. How big, big, big he is. God can do anything, and if he's capable of anything, why would he make us all polar bears? The world is like a mirror of God's work, Little Cub. Out of all the places he could have put us, he chose this world. Earth to be our home. He made it just for us. God gave us this special world and every creature in it. Why did he do that? Put us on the earth, I mean. Because he is the creator. Can you imagine your grandma not cooking something new? Or your grandpa not working on a new birdhouse in his shop? God created our world and everything in it because it's in his nature to create. Understanding, that is part of why he put us here, to serve and worship him, our amazing God who gave us this amazing world. Do you remember when he created it? Mama laughed. Our world is older than anyone can remember. It's older than my great-grandmother's great-grandmother. Whoa, that's old. Like that huge old tree in the forest? Older. It must be very strong, and yet fragile too. We have to take care of our world. It's God's gift to us. He'd be sad if we hurt it. God might get mad if we hurt our world, Little Cub said. I get mad when the twins hurt my stuff. Yes, I understand that, Mama said, picking her up. We don't want to make God mad or sad. We want him to smile. And we want to take care of this world he gave us. Do you think we'll ever meet the other bears? Maybe someday. It's a big world and constantly changing. It'd be fun to know more bears, wouldn't it? Maybe a panda bear will come on an iceberg and bring us some bamboo. Mama laughed. It's always good to make new friends, try new things, and know more about this world that God gave us. Little Cub went to sleep that night thinking about the stars in the sky and her special world. She thought of all the other bears falling to sleep in forests and caves and jungles, and she was glad that God had made her, little her, to be one of the bears in it. The end. Welcome to craft time. Okay, so for today, we are going to be making something that you will need a branch for from outside. Now, I grabbed one. I actually already had this one at home. I don't know if you can tell, but I have some branches to my side here, so I grabbed one of those. But what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making a thankful tree and a loving tree. And what we're going to do is we're going to make leaves to put onto our branch, and then you can keep it in your room or you can keep it in the living room. But basically what we're going to put on the leaves are things that we're thankful for and things that we love. Because I think it's important to remember that even though we're trying to love each other right now, it's also a great reminder to be thankful, especially when we're feeling worried or scared or hurt or confused. It's always good to look at things that we're thankful for because they can always help change our mind and put us in a better mind space. So that's what we're working on today. So I've got my branch, and now I'm going to show you what to do with the leaves. Are you ready? Well, let's jump in. All right, so for our craft today, these are the things that you're going to need. You're going to need some paper, some scissors, some watercolor if you want. This is optional. If you're doing watercolor though, you'll need water and a paintbrush and some colored pencils. But honestly, you can use anything you want to color with. Okay, we are going to be making our leaves for our thankful, loving tree. And so I only had white paper at home. You may have different colored papers at home, like green or blue or whatever. But here I have white, so I'm gonna color it green and red and orange because I like all those kind of colors for my leaves. So to start though, I'm going to stack my paper together, and I have 3 pieces of paper, and I'm gonna cut them at the same time. I'm gonna start with a regular pencil, and I'm going to make the outline of a leaf. And so a simple way for me for a simple leaf, for those of you who are younger, is to do it like this. You start on one side and you make a curve up and then down to one side like that. And then you start at the same dot but you curve down and you go to the other corner like that. So now you have a curve up and a curve down. So I'm going to make a couple of those. So now we're going to take our paper and we're going to cut these out. So here we go. Woo! That was a lot of cutting. But now I've got all my leaves, so I can move my scraps aside. We don't need those. And I'm done with my scissors. I'm gonna put them away. All right, now I'm gonna decorate each of these. So we're gonna take one of our leaves here. And since I didn't have green paper, I'm gonna make it green. And I'm gonna take my water and put in my watercolor. All nice and juicy. And I'm going to paint my flower, or my leaf. So there we go. I have my first leaf is colored. Now I'm going to take my colored pencils and I'm going to write something that I'm thankful for and that I also love. You can even decorate the leaf if you want. You can also add a little bit of color. You know what? I'm just realizing that this might be a little... look at that! Who would have thought that you wouldn't be able to write with a colored pencil on top of watercolor? And it's not even wet. Well, let's go grab a marker. Voila! Now we have our markers. Okay, if this doesn't work, then things are getting crazy up in here. Okay, I'm going to take my green because I'm going to try to stick with my green theme. You can do whatever kind of colors you want. I'm going to open my marker. And I'm going to write that I'm thankful for my family. Now for those of you who are younger, you can have your moms and dads help you with this part with the writing. But you can tell them the things that you're thankful for. I'm just going to give this a couple little decorations. And now I'm going to move on to my next one. So I'm going to set that one to the side. And I'm going to grab one of these ones that I made. And let's see, I'm just going to actually make this one into a flower. So I'm going to use my watercolor again, but I'm going to do it different colors. And this one, I'm going to write that I am thankful and that I love, thankful for, and I love salsa. Remember I talked about salsa earlier? Let's write salsa because I do love salsa. So I have my family and I have salsa. Ooh, let's do a little design here too. So once you have all of these colored, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me color all of them, but once you have them all colored, then what you're going to do is you're going to put a hole in one of the corners. So you can either take scissors like this and you can bend your paper in half. I'm going to put a hole up here and you can just do one little cut, or you could take, like if I wanted to, a sharp pencil and just really carefully but firmly push it through like that, because this is how we're going to put it on our branch. So I'm going to move this stuff to the side, scooch it all, and I'm going to pull in my branch here and I'm going to show you how we're going to make our thankful tree. Now I've got my branch here. It's kind of too big to show, but I'm going to show this one branch here. And I'm going to take my family one and I'm going to put it at the end of the branch, and I'm just very carefully, because mine are actually still a little damp from the watercolor, and I don't want it to rip off of the branch. I'm just going to gently and very carefully, on mine there's lots of little bits. I'm going to slide it down to a location where I want it. So I want it kind of like that. And then I'm going to take this one, and remember where I put the, there it is, where I cut with the scissors. I'm going to slide that one on too. Very carefully. This one's actually a little bit easier because the hole was bigger than I made with the pencil. And it's perfect for my tree. I'm going to go like this. And then I'm going to stop. And look at that. I have a pretty flower and a leaf on my tree. When you fill it all out, you'll have a full tree here. I'm just going to pretend like that's where I would put them. I don't know at the moment. I will finish making mine and then I'll take a picture and send it to you. But for the purposes of this, oops, like if they were all over and colored and decorated, you would have this really cool, beautiful tree. And then you could look at it each day and be reminded of the things that you like and love and the things that you're thankful for. And remember that the things we're thankful for, we can thank God for because He gave them to us. But also, they're things that we love, and we can remember to love everything the way that God does. So there you have it. This is your very own Thankful Love Tree. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'm so proud of you guys for making it through another week, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity that I have to be able to talk to you guys each week, especially for those of you who are at Lakeside. I miss seeing you guys and know that you are loved and you are missed. And for those of you who are joining us that don't go to Lakeside, thank you so much for coming each week. And if this is your first time, thanks so much for being here. It's great to have you here, and you are always welcome in Mykaela's Corner. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Make sure that you're showing love and kindness to everyone that you come in contact with. I love you, and I am just so thankful for you, and I love that we are all different, but we are all loved by God. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye!